Hello, I'm Jen Filla, and in this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 of my favorite formulas: sum, average, count, max and min, and year. Let's get calculating. So we are looking at a file of gifts. We have our donor ID, the donation date, and the donation amount. I am going to be working on the donation amount column to demonstrate 5 favorite formulas. How do I go about using or finding a formula? Well, one of the most common formulas I use is sum. And there's a little shortcut button up here, and when I hover over it, it tells me what it's going to do. It's going to display the sum of the selected cells directly after the selected cells. So when I click on it, it automatically knows to go to D2 because I have D1 is my title, it's not a number, and then down to row 7,229 where the last value is. If we think of this as a formula, there's really 2 parts here. This is really a function. So sum as a formula is, it's like a composite formula. If I were going to type a formula, I would have to type D2 plus D3 plus D4 all the way down to 7,229. So sum condenses that for me. That's the function, sum. And then the argument for it, what we call the argument, are the numbers D2 colon D7229. So we are defining the span that we would like to sum. And we do that with the colon, we separate, and it's doing it automatically because it's so common for people to want to sum an entire column. But we could go in and select just specific values, and then it automatically updated that argument. It then gives us a little green note there on the side that's telling us we're omitting adjacent cells, which of course we meant to do. So sum is common. It's very easy to find on your toolbar. But how else might we look for formulas? There's a little drop-down arrow next to sum, and it has many of our favorite formulas right there. So these are very commonly used functions or formulas. We could also go to our formulas choice on the toolbar and get a whole menu there. We could insert a function here, which would be sum or average, and we have other choices. We have more functions. I'm going to go back to the home menu. Up here in our formula bar, we could click on the function, insert function button. Notice how it automatically puts an equal sign, and then we could choose to sum. We could then put in the range. We could select it by clicking on this little button. It automatically put in the entire column there for us again, and click OK. Or we have one more way we could do it. We could simply start with the equal sign. That's letting Excel know that we are going to type in a formula, and we could type sum. Notice how if I arrow down here, it will tell me, or click down, it gives me a definition of what all these things are. So it's constantly giving you definitions, which is really helpful. And then I might choose D2, and maybe I only want to go to D7000. And I'm going to get the green error where I've omitted adjacent cells, because I did. So those are all the ways you can get to formulas, and I showed you sum already. What about average? We might want to see the average gift amount. Not an uncommon thing to want to see. I can go in and select average, and I'd like to see the average of the entire column. What do we know about gift amounts, though? We know that gift amounts often have outliers. There may be very small gifts at $1 in our file, and there may be 1 or 2 really big gifts. Those outliers are going to affect our average and not give us a good picture of what a middle number is. So our average is also known as the mean. Mean would be the mathematical term. And if we wanted to look at the middle number, that would be the median. So although it's useful to understand the average gift amount, if we were evaluating our data here, we would probably really want to know also the median gift amount. But average is used for all kinds of things, a very handy formula to know how to use. Another wonderful formula is count. Here we have the donation amount column. You can see that there's some empty cells. We could scroll around and sort and scroll down to check the row numbers, but there's a faster way. Putting my cursor right below the row, I'm going to go up to the toolbar for that shortcut menu and choose Count. Automatically, it highlights up to the last cell it can find, but that's not the whole column, and I don't want to have to sort and navigate and scroll. So I'm going to go right in here. I have my function count, open paren, and then I have the cell references. I am going to go ahead and type in cell reference D2, which is the top of the column. I have the colon, and then it goes right down to the last cell, D7229. I have my close paren, and I can hit enter. It's telling me that I have 7,188 donation amounts in this column, which is less than the 7,228 cells that are in this column. A variation on count that's really helpful is count A. So if I'm typing it in, I've got count A, open parens, C2, all the way to C, 7,229, close paren. What am I counting? Well, these aren't numbers, are they? They're dates. And so count A counts all of the cells that have a value in it. So it's avoiding blank cells, and it can be any kind of value. So that can be really handy if you don't have numbers like we do in the donation amount and you don't want to do a lot of scrolling around. Count and Count A are especially helpful with large data sets. Now let's talk max and min. And again, this is so helpful the larger the data set. Sure, I could sort my column, but I don't have to. I would like to find the max, the largest number in my column. It automatically selects the entire column because there are no breaks in the values. I hit enter, and sure enough, 250,000 is the largest gift found in this list of donation amounts. But how about min? What's the smallest number? 10. So we had a $10 gift and a $250,000 gift. Talk about outliers. The last formula we're going to talk about in this video is one of my favorites, year. So I'm going to go ahead and type it in, but don't forget, you can always click on the function button. This one is not in the list here, the quick list, but I could click more functions. You can also go to formulas in the navigation up here and get this menu and choose more functions. Now I have choices in categories, which can be really helpful. I'm simply going to type it. I start with the equal sign like any formula. I type in year, open parens. Now this is where it gets super simple. I want to take the year from the donation date column because I only want the year. It allows me to put all of these donations into one category, one year, instead of the date. Since I want this to go down the entire column, I just hover over the bottom right corner until I get that black cross or plus sign, double click, and presto. I now have all of the years. I hope you enjoyed my 5 favorite formulas in Excel, and I look forward to learning with you again soon.